Hello everyone, Sanbonani. Welcome to another installment of Endless Speaks. Isikhathi right now, it's, I don't know, close to midnight, but I just thought, let me just put this video in. Yeah, let me shoot it. I'll post it and just get it out of the way. It's very important. I'm afraid if I don't shoot it now, I'm gonna lose momentum. Welcome to Endless Speak, where we tackle everything from womanhood, lifestyle, and everything in between. We in this channel we specialize in taking, I don't know, a commentary around social issues, and we take that as teachable moments for women. Yeah, it's not in the title, but yes, it is in the title when we say womanhood. And yes, we are feminists around here. I saw a weird guy sneaking into my comments on some you're a feminist, as if that's an insult. But again, let me just focus. Disclaimer: any persons mentioned in this video and any commentary around people mentioned in this video, it's just a jokes, it's just pure commentary, and it has no bearing of whatsoever in real life. So nje ningangibophi. Basically, what I'm going to be talking about today, what we're going to be talking about today is it's a topic we touched on with the recent, I don't know, City Makoti provider wives conversation. There's something that really touched my heart, and I said I was going to make a video on it. Basically, the treatment of black women versus white women when they divorce. And in this instance, we are going to be using Rachel, I don't know her maiden surname, but Rachel Kolisi and Entlembali Mlotshwa, how formerly Maphumulo, how she was treated during her divorce versus how Rachel was treated. Of which those are just the two people I could come up with in spur of the moments. But yeah, do remember to subscribe, hit that bell, notification bell, do the works. We love it here. I know you guys love it here. And also, I also feel like I owe you guys this because in your time to like I. But here my conversation is going to be divided into, I think, 3 sections: their history, briefly on their history, both these women, but specifically I'm going to be focusing on commonalities. Okay, history between Rachel and Mbali. If one thing they both have in common is that they are literally the come-up girlfriend, meaning they are the girlfriend who was there for both these men when they were coming up, meaning they're the girlfriend, they're the dream girlfriend that men say they want, the woman who's gonna be there with you. I recently saw an interview and Klembali on Anele Mdoda's talk show. Beautiful show, by the way. Loved that show. Where she's just detailing Bangani on how they bought shabby properties, revamped them, stayed in them. They were just pushing and making things work. And I think one day I went on Twitter, one of those random days, where we saw Rachel Kolisi's history, that she was like a proper hold him down kind of girl, a kind of woman that all men in South Africa say they want, the woman who's gonna be with them as they come up, with them when they have nothing. So, and apparently one of the most shining things about Rachel is that she took on Sia's siblings and raised them with Sia. Basically, she was that girl. And I think we can say the same with Entlembali, having had a career that was somewhat delayed with when Black Coffee's, I don't know, thing took off. We've all seen it. They were good. And if there's one thing we can admit, there were men who from the jump had a projection for a very bright future. But if you want to see how, in the court of public opinion, these two women were treated around their divorce, it is very, very important to pay attention how they were treated, especially on South Africa's most, I don't know, talkative app, which is Twitter, where people do not hold back when it comes to people's lives there on Twitter. So one of the things that was seriously, there was a stark difference in how both these women were treated. And yet they have a quite similar history in terms of the two relationships. And one of those commonalities is how they held these men down. But not only that, is how infidelity played a role in the breakup, allegedly. Both these women were, I don't know, day one kind of women, but both of them, one of the key factors that contributed to the breakdown of the marriage from the court of public opinions, it was infidelity. But especially in Mbali's case, Mbali did state that it was infidelity, meaning that men had babies on her. There is something very important to note with both these women, is that they were both cheated on numerous times, especially in Mbali's case. And Twitter was witness to all of this. The men on Twitter were witness to all of this. I remember a time when, especially when they were still in South Africa, Enhle Mbali noCoffee, where there would be a new slay queen posting herself. In fact, there was every other 2 months, there was a new girl posing, revealing something about Black Coffee and how he was being unfaithful. These stories are alleged and they were always trending on Twitter. But the reason I wanted us to zoom in on this, because I want us to get to the root cause as to why both these women who held these men down, who were there for them, why is it that they received such, I don't know, such polar opposite treatment and reaction from the general public? And I think you know where I am heading with this. But without any further speculation, let us state the things I observed as to how they were received when they publicly announced their divorce, and how they are perceived even today, their self-image, their self-worth, and their respect and their dignity. Rachel, I'm going to start with her. Rachel is forever a darling in the eyes of South African black men. She is treated like a makoti that got away. And they are constantly implying that, no man, Rachel, mxolele, can you just fix this thing? How can Sia fumble such a great makoti for us? And they've even gone as far as giving her such a beautiful nickname. Bambiza ngomakolisi, ukuthi eish, umakoti wakithi lo, meaning this is our bride, this is our person. How can such a thing happen with our person? So there was more so, not so much vitriol, but for Sia or Rachel per se, but there was a sense of grace. I wrote here, they gave her respect when she posted pictures, or when people were prying around the divorce, she did ask for space, and she was received with such warmth and kindness that, no, let this woman grieve, let this woman go through her processes, let this woman be. This woman has been through so much. Oh my, did Sia cheat on you? Oh no, this woman, you know what? Sia is wrong for this. Please understand our brother. In fact, if South African men or Twitter people, specifically men, they had known where Rachel stayed, they would actually go there themselves to apologize on behalf of Sia. That, how can this man fumble such a great woman? How can he fumble such a woman who has held him down and nursed him and made him the man he is today? That is the resounding energy or public opinion that Rachel Kolisi was given and was graced with. Such kindness. In fact, people were apologizing for Sia on her behalf, like Buye Kaya Makolisi. I've seen so many of those tweets. If you don't believe me, you can go on a deep dive there. Just search up her name. You will find that it's nothing but positive and reassuring and kind PR. Every time she's at a rugby game, she's met with such warmth and kindness. But what did I say? I said both these women were the come-up women, and both these women had been there for their partners or spouses from the foundation phases till now. Let us then turn a page and go to Enhle Mbali Mlotshwa, of which, if we were to look at both these women, they are, for the most part of their marriage, they have been unproblematic. They had been the good wife, the wife who understands, the wife who puts her husband's need first, the wife who would do anything for the husband. the husband first. In fact, I can even go as far as saying Enhle Mbali sort of kind of delayed her dreams in the with the mission to push the family yakwaMaphumulo, specifically her and her kids and her husband. She put them first. That much is clear. The relocation to New York, where else she had gigs in South Africa, her acting is solely South African based. Her moving her kids and everything to international waters while she has gigs and things to take care of in South Africa. That to me spoke of part of her sacrifice. But let us then see that how this kind-hearted, selfless woman who has literally been such a support system, a safety net for her husband, how she was treated in these Twitter streets and in the court of public opinion, specifically black men. And why do I keep specifying and saying black men? It's because it wasn't black women that in fact, black women are always gonna be, do you, girl, whatever works for you, girl. However, Enhle Mbali, how was Enhle Mbali received during her divorce? She was dragged, degraded, labeled, harassed. In fact, there was outrage over her divorce, dare I say. Enhle Mbali couldn't post a single post without you finding a comment that insults her intelligence, and her reason, and doubts her, and even her value as a woman and her virtue as a woman. Enhle Mbali was met with names, labels, gold digger, ufuna imali kabafo. What did she do? In fact, all the support and the love and the silence that Enhle Mbali had been serving uMaphumulo with all these years was then scrapped and nulled and voided. And the difference between these two women is that we never really knew about Kolisi's escapades. But one person whose escapades we knew of is Black Coffee's, is Mr. Maphumulo, from what we saw on Twitter. Because Mbali suffered public humiliation in that marriage. She suffered public humiliation and still stayed and supported her man and relocated to overseas for that man. But she was labeled, called all kinds of names. On a daily basis, even now, there is still, you will never find a post of hers. She can't even move publicly without being labeled or being called names. Even in the divorce saga, there was a lot of men who were asking themselves, what did she do for him in terms of his career? Why does she deserve anything? But there was never such words or such a tongue lashing towards Rachel when he and her ex-husband were allegedly fighting over the Kolisi Foundation, the ownership of the foundation that Rachel had worked on, by the way, that she had worked on. So you find two women who have literally had a similar come up and a similar public relationship. One has suffered years and years of humiliation over the husband cheating, and the other, I'm assuming, the same. However, the one is supposed to just stay in that marriage and endure. By virtue of her leaving that marriage, Enhle Mbali was ostracized. That woman was crucified. That woman was degraded. That woman was called a gold digger, was called all kinds of names for leaving that marriage. Yet South African men watched Black Coffee cheat on her every day. They watched him cheat on her. In fact, they applauded him for cheating on her. They applauded him for cheating on her. It was something that was normal. In fact, whenever he cheated, a lot of Twitter would go on an uproar and they would go shake his hands virtually on Samai Grootman, man, Liashai Grootman. But the minute Enhle decided to say, no, enough is enough. I am not doing that anymore. No more with my life. In fact, you're now having babies on me. God forbid. She's now a worthless woman. She's now a woman who lacks virtue, a woman who lacks, I don't know. She's now someone that's just valueless. She's someone who wants to destroy him. She's someone who was always out to get him. But Rachel, on the other hand, must just please calm down. Let us move on between comparing the two. This leads me to one thing, and one thing only. South African men have a deep-seated love and worship for whiteness, for white supremacy, and for whiteness, the color whiteness, and everything that has to do with whiteness. To a degree, in fact, it's not just whiteness, it's whiteness and the other. In the other there, I'm putting any other woman who is not a black woman. There is a sense of worship and there's a sense of reverence for whiteness. Dare I say, the way in which they are treating Miss Rachel Kolisi or Mam Kolisi is the same way a garden boy would treat Inganega Medem if Inganega Medem smiled at him, waved at him. I think South African men have a deep-seated self-hatred, and that self-hatred and an inferiority complex, that self-hatred and inferiority complex manifests in how they treat black women. Manifests in how they treat black women. The same way they view black women is the same way they view themselves. They don't feel themselves worthy to ever have been dating a white woman. For them, dating a white woman is the pinnacle of success, because how dare a madam's daughter do me a favor? Even when the madam's daughter says, I've had enough of this, and she leaves, all of them, you'll find them behind her saying, "Ow, kodwa Nkosi yami, makoti wakithi, please forgive us. We're merely garden boys. How can we appease your anger?" Because why? The madam's daughter dared to smile at them. And now, anything she does, she must be appeased. Because why? I'm a lowly black man. And that white woman did us a favor for even dating us in the first place. That's where it stems from. I'm not going to go through the corners. Black men's reverence and worship of white women stems from internalized hatred and racism that they have. And it stems from their inferiority complex. I will not go around the corners when it comes to that. It stems from an inferiority complex. And it's also part of the reason. So I read a quote somewhere saying that if apartheid, if one of the terms of apartheid was that black men can be free and black women can stay under apartheid, black men would take that deal. Because why? This comes to this, how they treat us as black women. I just demonstrated how they treat white women, that this is madam's daughter. If she pays us any attention, we shall crumble. How dare such a creature? Oh, how dare such a maiden, fair with blue eyes, look at me, a merely black man. And how they view black women. Black men view black women as not even lesser than them, as I don't know, as property. They feel entitled to black women. They feel entitled to black women. And that shows in how they react when black women stand up for themselves. When they say, "You have cheated on me. Enough. I am leaving now. Oh, how dare you, my cow, you leave. How dare you leave. How dare you leave. How dare you not understand that this is who I am." Do you understand? Do you see the polar reaction they have? Umbali was met with fire for leaving uBlackhoff, yet she was seen every day. Especially when they were still in South Africa. I remember those scandals. Scandal after scandal. She endured. But dare she leave In fact, they want to punish her for living. Because why? Because a black woman is a lowly being that must understand, according to the black man, that must understand whatever happens. In fact, it's a being that was created to serve them. Whether she is crying, whether she's saying no, whether she's saying enough is enough, whether she's saying this is my body, it doesn't matter. The black woman is theirs to serve and do whatever they want with her. That is the heartbreaking reality. That they feel entitled to black women. They feel entitled to black women. They view them. They view us as creatures who are lowlier than them. And hence they are so angry at our ability to study, to learn, to earn. They are angry. They feel like our ability to study, to learn, to earn was an oppression to them. And another thing is the socialization of black men around infidelity. White women should know, they should understand. In fact, white women are not begged to understand infidelity. In fact, they are begged to just say, please forgive us. But black women must just stay for it, because why? It's who we are. Indoda injalo. And there's another thing. I think I saw this somewhere, or I think I was pondering on this as I'm about to close. That if you want to see a black man submit, if you want to see a black man lick food off of the floor, give him a white woman. Give him a white woman. He will do anything for master's daughter. He will burp the baby. He will do midnight feedings. He will do anything for master's daughter. Because how dare he choose a lowly servant like me? We understand? How dare he choose a lowly servant like me? It's internalized hatred. And if one thing I have seen, black men do not want the abolishment of the system, of any kind of system, from capitalism or patriarchy, of any kind of system. In fact, and white supremacy, they don't want the abolishment of white supremacy. Let me put it that way. Because why? Because they want to be the white supremacists. They want to be the white men. They want to have the girls with the blonde hair, anything but the woman that birthed them. In this regard, and this is solely directed to men who are in this conversation. If you're not, you're not. But that is the truth. Ukuthi they aspire to be white. And it's part of the reason they are not radical when it comes to eliminating even colorism in our communities. Because why? They worship anything lighter than the original. They worship anything lighter than their mothers. And they look down on their mothers. They look down on the women that birthed them and give them children. That's where the gist of the matter is. It's all internalized self-hatred and low self-esteem. They want to be white men. It's not that they want the system to fall. They actually want to be on top of the system. And it's part of my reason. I always say, I fear if from a drop of a dime, black men could be in charge of power, I wonder if black women would have rights in that system. Have a beautiful day. And this is not hatred, but I did want to advocate for black women when they divorce. And even someday we'll touch even further as how women are treated even by the court of law, by the justice system of this country. Black women. They are not given grace. They are not given space. In fact, it's always a matter how dare she thinks she's something. This is why I created this channel. I want women to be conscious of the biases and things that exist around them. And I want you to have high self-esteem so that you can know when they start comparing us to white women on some aglotolwa kupholiwe ngale. It's all internalized self-hatred. It's all a reflection of their failure in a system that is supposed to favor them, in a system that they created, because they are very quick to switch to culture, isiko lithi. However, they cannot even live up to the standards of that isiko. And it is not our fault that people cannot rise to the standards of a patriarchy that says they must provide and be leaders. And when they squiggle around finding other ways to blame us, they are blaming us that I know, Tina, we're ungovernable, we prefer them. No, you prefer them because you know what you submit. You want to submit and you crave submission. Because why? You guys love white power. Yo, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Do subscribe, do hit the notification bell. I love you guys. Mwah.